Hey everybody, my name is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com, and what I wanted to do today was talk about the rising cost of living and how do you address it. Now what happens is a lot of people notice that the cost of living is growing and growing at a fast rate. The cost of housing, the cost of food, the cost of healthcare, the cost of education is just going up so quicker than your ability to generate more income. But how do you deal with that? Okay, what a lot of people oftentimes quickly suggest, because they don't understand why prices are going up, they just think that this is just a natural phenomenon, that prices are going to keep going up, and this is the way things are. So because of that, they don't focus on addressing the drivers of prices instead of trying to focus on the ability for people to pay rising prices through policies like the minimum wage, through policies like lending programs, trying to subsidize lending for housing, lending for education. And these just deal with people's ability to pay increasing prices. They don't address increasing prices. In all reality, they actually add to the driver. They actually fuel the fire of increasing prices, making prices increase even faster. Because it's all these things that contribute to pricing. So for example, labor costs contribute to the prices of all goods, along with the costs of taxation, the cost of compliance of different regulations, along with false scarcity, because maybe we make it so expensive to start a business that there's a lack of competitors, giving existing businesses too much pricing power than they would naturally have in a more competitive market that had lower barriers to entry. When it comes to housing and education, programs that make it easier to borrow money to buy a house or borrow money to get an education actually drives up those prices, because making it easier for people to borrow, to pay the higher price, makes it easier for schools and homeowners to charge more. So in that case, there's no thinking, is the pricing strategies that we're using now make sense? Is the prices that exist now make sense? It's just like, oh, we'll just make it easier for people to pay the current price. And from a political standpoint, this makes sense, because politicians aren't in the game of stepping on toes. They're in the game of trying to make everybody happy in the short run. Because as long as people are happy now, they'll vote to re-elect them. So basically, by making it easier for you to borrow for education, you feel like you're getting your education now, and the teachers and whatnot, they're not upset because they don't have to reform the way the costs of the school are done, whether that means cost of administrators, how many administrators there are, what kind of facilities the school has. None of that has to be rethought. We can just say, we'll just keep things the way they are. Everybody in the university is happy. The student is happy in the meantime. Now, yes, later on, that student's going to have a huge amount of debt. And they're going to have probably more debt than their income can really support. But they're not going to blame the lending policy. They're going to go blame businesses for not paying them enough, for not paying them a living wage. When all reality is because we've just taped over problems and basically put people in these situations where basically they can't survive. They can't afford healthcare, they can't afford education, they can't afford housing, they can't afford food, because all these policies push up the price. On top of it, you can take a look at monetary policy, take a look at healthcare policy, which is a whole other mess. All these things that are pushing up prices, and then people just, all they see is the price increase, so they blame business. And they're like, oh, well, government needs to force everyone to give us more money, because they don't understand what's driving the prices. But if you just try to make it easier for people to pay increasing prices, prices will continue to rise. The problem will not go away. So we need to sit down and have a real conversation about what is driving the prices up of housing, of education, of food, of housing, etc. It's, bottom line, it's politicians not wanting to allow anyone to ever feel any pain in the short run that keeps making these problems even worse and even worse. And eventually, there won't be some way for them to sweep it under the rug. Eventually, there won't be a way for them to push the can down the road. And the can that's left for those who are there at that moment is going to be much worse than if we had just dealt with the problem now. If we just allowed things to correct themselves now and allow prices to be reasonable, and for us to figure out pricing strategies and business models, etc., that make education, housing, food, etc., affordable, manageable, attainable for more people. So my name is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com. If you enjoyed this video, please share it. subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the Facebook page, and let's just have a conversation about these issues. Thank you very much.